So it is no longer news that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this week, outgoing week, did use his powers and rights as enshrined in Chapter 6, Part 1, Section 175 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 as amended, to grant pardon, some even posthumous, clemency, mercy to several Nigerians, over 200 of them, as it is reported, for various crimes. But what is news is the degree of crimes that some of these persons that have been pardoned actually committed. According to the report, over about 208, if I'm not mistaken, were granted pardon. Like I said, mercy. Of course, the Section 175 prerogative of mercy empowers the president to be able to do that. However, funnily enough, 40% or 70 of those 208, constituting about 40% of the people pardoned, had drug-related offenses. Again, 40% of the people pardoned had drug-related offenses. And why is this quite peculiar, unique? In some countries, they are trying to, in some countries, and it's not even trying to, some countries have already capitulated or made capital punishment of drug-related offenses. They want to ensure that their countries are safe of drug trafficking and all of the hazard it causes to the economy and the damage to the systems. But here we are, Nigerian government is granting pardon or mercy to people with drug-related offenses. In fact, in the report, he said that the president is satisfied of a couple of them being remorseful while serving their jail terms. We had also illegal mining offenses, constituting about 34%, about 60 of those pardoned had illegal mining offenses. Financial and white-collar crimes, about 70%, 30 of the offenders were pardoned. Violent and capital offenses, 25, that's about 14%. Property hijacking and maritime, 6%, of course, 10 of them. Arms-related offenses, 6 persons were pardoned, about 3%. Human trafficking or exploitation gained about 4 of those pardons, 2%, and then miscellaneous other type also had about 2%, 3 of them. Now, some of the pardon or clemency, especially the posthumous, were quite very strategic, and we must commend the president, for example, granted the Ogoni 5, the movement for the survival of Ogoni people, Mosob, that was led by Ken Saro-Wiwa. Of course, the 9 of them were granted pardon. Then, of course, remember the Ogoni. Then the 4 chiefs that were said to have been the 4 chiefs of the Ogoni. Let's leave the story like that, because sometimes there are certain language you use for some stories, you water down the efficacy of it, or you derail it, or you misguide the conversation. So stop with that. 4 of them were also granted posthumous honors. Now to the shocking part. Farouk Lawan. If you remember Farouk Lawan, the very famous House of Rep member that was caught on tape collecting bribe from Femi Otedola to have removed the company from the fierce subsidy crimes investigations. Farouk Lawan was already a member of the House of Rep and 4-term member from 1999 to 2015. Of course, that tape was one of the first in the breakage of news that relate to such things, whistleblowing. But of course, the High Court convicted him of crimes related to bribery and corruption, and then he fought it all. He went on to appeal it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court did also authenticate that particular decision of the lower court. He was then sentenced to jail for about 7 years. And then in 2024, he was out of prison having served jail term. But of course, the Nigerian constitution doesn't permit him, at least for the next 10 years, to contest for any public office or cannot hold any public office. But with this pardon, which of course he has also excitingly responded to, he may even be qualified to contest 2027 elections and even contest for governor. again, like I said, some of these very, very, very good, but cases like these are things that we worry about. One of the people that were pardoned was a woman convicted in 2020 for killing her husband, one certain Susan or so. Killing her husband. She's been granted pardon. I don't know. I don't want to be a full-blown critic. Like I said, a couple of them, Herbert Macaulay, for example, several persons. Long list, you could go check that out. I'll put Bayo Nonuga essay to the president did post all of them on his Twitter handle, and I'm sure a couple of pages or blogs have them now. Quite unfortunate. But Sunday Joseph, I think that's his name, the Nigerian that while defending himself killed his attacker, wasn't granted pardon. And again, cause for concerns. And why drug related? So is it really true that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a constituency in drug related offenses? This is looking. Some of them were caught with cocaine, hard drugs, and you granted them pardon and said they were remorseful. I will stop it here for now. I'll catch you another time. Bye for now.